Okay, welcome to a new episode of Farm Like a Hero. Today I am here with Christian Ried, who runs Leylandhof in Austria. It's a 3-hectare farm started in 2015 and is one of the farms featured in my book. And we actually met in Thailand over a decade ago now when Christian was cycling from, I think, the south of Australia all the way back home to Austria. And then more recently we met again when Christian attended a training here at the farm at Ridgedale. And he's been raising poultry and building up an extensive no-dig market garden, which is now the primary focus today, with products sold primarily via farmers markets in Salzburg. So Christian, it's a big pleasure for me to meet you again on here.
Yeah, good to meet you. You again.
Tell us a bit about your pathway, Christian. I can't remember when we met. I was at the Panya project when you cycled through, but was that trip for you part of your pathway into farming? Were you visiting farms on your ride home?
Yeah, I think so. I always wanted to see a lot, and I've seen a lot, probably too much. It's the same, basically, repeating all the time if you are traveling long time. But seeing big fires basically in every country where I've been and where I've been cycling through, and seeing basically erosion caused by industrial agriculture everywhere, and being kind of aware about all those things back then already brought me more in that direction. Like the big permaculture topic, which is obviously a gateway for a lot of people to a more also money-wise sound form of regenerative agriculture, because that's just not, so I don't see it happening in like mandala gardens and odd bed shapes and all those crazy plantings. So yeah, so it brought me that direction, of course. Yeah.
What's been your pathway like since then? So that was a long time ago now, obviously, but what's been big inspirations and key moments in leading up to starting your place?
Key moments. Well, the taste of good food, probably. So with my upbringing, my father was a quite good cook. So I basically was growing up always with like 3-star or meals, basically. So I really, how food is well presented and served and cooked, and I know the necessity of good quality from the start. I mean, you can cook non-quality food to a very good point, also with spices, but if you really know how things taste, then you will recognize the difference for sure. And this is probably one thing which happened really early on. And another thing is there was always gardening involved in my family. So my mother and grandmother, they've been all running gardens, like small style hobby gardens, but with quite some output. And I grew up in the countryside, basically seeing farming from really early on. And so basically all those things pointed me already in this direction. And later on, just moving through all those permaculture stuff, informations, and it just grew and kept on growing. And I'm lucky enough to have the opportunity to start something like this, which is not true for everybody, especially here in Austria with crazy prices or even non-availability of land, because the market is really very limited, as there are a lot of mountains and really not that much land which is suitable for agriculture.
What is the land price there, just for reference for listeners?
It depends very much. On the one side, there are those internet prices where people are asking crazy amounts for land, and they can be up to say 20 euros per square meter, even for pasture, if it is next to a city.
Like 200,000 euros a hectare.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the book kind of where all the ownership and all the contracts are written, so to say, they are publicly. So all the contracts where the land is getting sold are public. So you can have a look into those contracts and you can see what the actual prices are. And I've been working a lot in that immobilian area. So I've been renovating and managing building stuff in town. And you can just look up the real prices which are really paid then, and that's then less. So I would say average for arable land would be 750 or something. And if it is really next to a town, then it's probably going up to 20. So it's kind of in that range. For Salzburg, for example, it would be this, but further north, where there is more land and less population, it would be kind of 5 euros or so. Depends on the land quality then.
Super expensive. So what was it you ended up buying? Was it a rundown sort of small holding essentially?
Yes, it was a rundown small holding. It was not one big chunk of land. So the total land base is 3.2 hectares, but it is split into 5 parcels all over the place. And I'm really farming just one main parcel, which is 1 hectare kind of ish in size. And that's the best land quality. So I'm really happy with sandy, free draining loam. So really the best what you can really expect around here. So really, really good place to start.
Yeah.
And yes, and it was just a dead building. It was shot by a huge hail event and never repaired. So there was water leaking through the roof for 20 years, and it wasn't possible to even walk into the first floor. We would just cut through and end up 1 level lower again. So,
so is that what you built out to be your home?
Yes. Yeah. But it was not renovated. It's really a new building, so it's not renovated. It was just like an old mixed walls, stones, and just not possible to renovate. It was beautiful, but it wouldn't meet modern day life. So,
So you spent a good few years getting infrastructure up to a standard that you could be there and live there with the family, right?
Yes. So basically, I bought it in 2013, and I started building the main building in 2014, and it was basically finished kind of the same year. Our family, we've been always involved with building, and we know all the companies, so it's really easy to get them when you really want to have them. So if you are paying your invoices in time and stuff like this, that certainly helps. And good relationships with all the building companies, and so that all helps. So it was done really fast. And basically I moved in by the end of 2014, and then starting out with a lot of projects, like starting trees from seed a lot, and like building up hedges, hedgerows, all from own cuttings, and crafting apple trees. I've been getting a lot of crafts from, there's basically in every country there is that one organization which is collecting like old trees and like figuring out which variety they are. And I've just been working with them together, and I've been getting a lot of crafts, and I'm crafting them onto rootstock, and I'm like giving some of them back for free just to pay for their work, so to say. And I kept some and I sold some, and all those things. And I've been having some pigs and free range layers in a mobile coop, So that's really what I did the early years, besides like working a full-time job.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting things in place, and then you've really turned your attention to the market garden.
Yes.
As your primary thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, and I mean, it was really a good idea to see your place, you know, because basically you took all the good ideas from, you know, like all the people out of the permaculture world and assembled it really well. And I think your place is really the place to go if you want to see all those systems in place, and also like working systems which also work money-wise and not just with a good ideology in the background. You know, that's certainly something you have to put aside a little bit at least to start out. And yes, and but my intention really never was to grow a market garden, because I really never wanted to run a tiller through dirt all the time and eroding the soil, and you know, like lowering. A lot of that around the world, and I just don't want to do that. And but seeing your Nordic version back then like made me think, and it fits our context as a family really well, and that's basically why I ended up starting then a market garden later on. So,
and you've been doing that as a, like, you designed the market garden around you working full-time without support, essentially, didn't you? Can you tell us a bit then the size, like the area of beds, and I know you've got a super nice tunnel set up as well.
Well, like the bed size, so really actual bed space is below 800 square meters, and it's 1/3 inside, one big main tunnel, and the rest is just outside beds. And there is also a small tunnel which is just 60 square meter of space, which is kind of left over from like hobby gardening in the very early days, so 2013 or so. And yes, so that's basically the size, below 800 square meters. Yeah.
And so how's your, after running that for a while now, what's your reflection? Is that an optimal size for you as a one-person show, as it were?
Yes, I mean, with more experience, I could do more, but we also have a bit more than 1 year old son, and there needs to be time for this, and I'm certainly taking time for this. And I'm also a person, so I'm not somebody who is just into one thing. So that's just not me. So I always need something else to feed my mind, and just to do. And I want to have time for that. So that's really important for me, and it's also important for us. So to be away for a weekend, for example. And so it is a really good size if you are considering that, but there is certainly more area possible for one person.